What's up, family? It's your favorite storyteller, Matt D. Talford, author of From Fear to Faith, The Survivor Story. Check it out in the links below. And host of Matty's Rap, the show where we rap about things that guys rap about when we're hanging out. Now, this is another edition of Filterless 5-Minute Freestyle Friday. So if it sounds like I'm rushing, it's because I'm 0 for my last 4 and getting these in under 5 minutes. Possibly 0 for my last 5. But anyway, it's statements like that that slow me down. So I'm going to try to cut those short and keep it moving here. All right, so 5-Minute Freestyle Fridays. All right, Filterless Freestyle Fridays. Why am I saying filterless when I took the filter off and I don't have a filter anyway? Anyway, here we go. So if you were watching my last video, you know that I talked about the inescapability of prophecy. If you haven't seen that video, just check it out on my channel. It's called The Inescapability of Prophecy. And at the end of that video, I mentioned that in my next video, I would be talking about universal balance sheets. All right, universal balance sheets. Now, for any of you who have been students of business, you own a business, you work at a business, you run a business out of your house, whatever, you know that a balance sheet is simply a statement of credits and debits. You know, okay, what do I owe and what am I getting in? What is my income? What is my outflow? That's pretty much a balance sheet in its simplest form. So why are we talking about balance sheets on the heels of talking about the inescapability of prophecy? Well, let's just talk about balance. We know that if, let's say I've got $100 in an account, all right, and I put $50 over here. Well, that $50 over here is accounted for, and then I've kept 50 over here, so I still got that $100. That whole $100 is accounted for, and therefore my sheet is balanced. My $100 budget is balanced. Whatever. I'm not spending more than I'm bringing in, and I'm not bringing in more than I'm spending. I'm balanced. Okay, everything is balanced out. Everything's accounted for. So how does that apply to people? How does that apply to prophecy? Well, when you think in terms of balance, a lot of people think that, okay, well, balance, okay, so if I do something to a person, and I'm taking the filter off, I'm just jumping right in. If I go over here and do something to a person, if I give you $50 of my own money, then, you know what, let me back it up. Let's do this. And then I'm going to give you some biblical examples, and I already know this ain't going to get in under 5 minutes, so let's just call this Filterless Freestyle Friday. All right, I'm going to give you some examples, and then I'm going to get off of here. I will get it done in under 2. Let's say, for example, you and I each have $200. Let's use $200. All right. And let's say you go out and you see something that costs $300, but you only have $200. And $200 is all you and I need to balance our household budget. You know, everything's accounted for, paid for. You don't owe anybody any money. You got groceries, you got lights, whatever have you. You got fuel in your car. We can get that done with $200. All right. Hypothetical, because we know they ain't happening with no $200 nowadays. Anyway, hypothetically speaking. Now, you see something that you want that is, more than what you're earning. So you're like, okay, well, how can I get this thing that cost me that's going to cost $350, and all I got is $200. All right. And you see me, and I'm a nice guy, and you're like, well, he won't. Or maybe you see a guy down the street who looks like he's soft, and you can take him. And you go and you knock him upside his head, and you take his $200. Well, guess what? Now you have $400, and he has $0. So now he's got to struggle to try to figure out how he's going to make ends meet because he has nothing. So now he's got to try to figure out how I'm going to get this. Meanwhile, you're sitting in abundance. You're swimming in the fat right now because you got your $200 and his $200 that you took from him. Well, through time or whatever, or maybe somebody came and talked to you and softened your heart and said, hey, man, you know what? It was wrong for you to cause this man that harm, knock him upside his head, take his $200, whatever. You need to give it back to him. If you give him back his $200, then you guys will be even. Everything will be straightened out. So guess what? You give him back his $200. Now you got your original $200. And from a monetary standpoint, you guys are balanced. But that's not the way things work in the universe. All right. Let me, before I give you these scriptural examples, well, let me back up. That's not the way things work in the universe. In the universe, for things to be balanced, the only way they're going to be balanced is if you go $200 in the negative. All right. In other words, you're not in the negative, but somebody takes your $200 now. So if you took $200 to go up 400, all right, or to go up an extra 200, guess what? You're going to have to give up $400 in order for you to feel the pain that this man felt. You can't give him back in order for the universe to be balanced. You cannot give this man back his $200 and render an I'm sorry, my fault, mea culpa, whatever, and then expect that things are balanced. That's not the way it works in the universe. You got to feel what he felt in order for things to be balanced. Why is that? Well, because if you don't feel what he felt, then the next time you decide you want to do something, you're like, all right, that was pretty easy the last time. It didn't cost me anything. All I had to do was take his and then later give it back to him. That's not the way it works. The Most High got this thing worked out to where in order for things to be balanced, you have to feel what he felt. Now watch this. We know about the 3 laws of motion, all right? I'm not going to say Newton's, even though, because Sir Isaac Newton discovered it for him, but it was already there. So I'm not even giving him credit for it. The 3rd law of motion in the universe says, for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction, all right? That's how universal balance sheets work. Now, let me give you some scriptural examples, and then I'll wrap this thing up. Let's see here. According to my notes, I'm looking at the Old Testament book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 8. Habakkuk 2 and 8. Because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee. Because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. So you back up there, he says, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee. That's the only way it can be balanced. Let's go to the second example. This is one of my favorites. This comes from Joel chapter 3, and I'm going to read verses 1 through 8. Now, I did a pretty in-depth breakdown of this chapter. The prophecy the video is called 2020 and the prophecy of Joel chapter 8. You can find that on my YouTube channel. If you haven't done so already, by the way, please hit the thumbs up button and like this video, and then subscribe so you can get a notification each time I upload a new video. And to do that, you may want to hit that notification bell, because you may not get it in your recommended videos. I don't know how these things work sometimes, but it's best to just go ahead and click all, and that way the notification bell instead of to all, that way you'll get that notification. Now, Joel chapter 3, verses 1 through 8. This is the Most High speaking through the prophet Joel. I will also gather all nations, and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel. Now you got to understand, when the Most High says plead here, he's not saying plead in the sense that we know it, where we're like, oh, I'm begging you to please. No, he's not pleading. He basically is, he's basically trying. I don't know why that word said plead. It should say he gonna holler at y'all for what you did to his people. That's what that means. Let me read it again. And will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coast of Palestine? Will ye render me a recompense? Will you pay me back? And if you recompense me, swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense upon your own head, because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. The children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem, the children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. So far that they don't even remember who they are generations later. But we'll talk about that at another time. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabians, to a people far off, for the Lord hath spoken it. You see? So basically what he's saying there is, what you did to them, I got to do it to you. I got to do it to you to correct this thing, to make it right, to balance it. Now, Sabians, I wrote a note here because some people might say, well, who are the Sabians? And I had that question myself. According to Wikipedia, the Sabians were an ancient people of South Arabia. They spoke the Sabian language, one of the old South Arabian languages. They founded the kingdom of Saba, which was believed to be the biblical land of Sheba and the oldest and most important of the South Arabian kingdoms. Now, again, when you see Arabia in the scriptural sense, you need to understand that they were talking about melanoid people. These were Shemites. The Arabians were Shemites as much as were the Israelites. All right. So when you see Arabians there, you're talking about the Ishmaelites. They're talking about folks that would be considered black today. But anyway, let me get off of that. Y'all know I don't like that term because that's not, we don't see. Anyway, let me get off of that. Let me stay on point here. So that's who the Sabians are. Now, the last example I'm going to give you comes from the book of Revelation. All right. This is Revelation chapter 13, verse 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. All right, so I gave you 3 biblical examples along with one that is popular or that is well known in the science community, the third law of motion. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So to summarize this or to sum this up, you don't get to balance things out by telling somebody you're sorry and saying, okay, and I'm saying this because this is scripture, first of all. These aren't my words. Some of the people watching this video that may not like this would say, well, who is he? Why is he saying it? Listen, you can't call yourself a so-called Christian or say you're a believer and cherry pick scripture and take what works for you and throw away what doesn't. You got to eat the whole basket. All right. It's because it's all there. All right. Now, and if the Most High said it, he's going to do it. Remember my last video, I talked about the inescapability of prophecy, because if prophecy is a story that was written already, and as prophecy unfolds, you're just getting to that part of the story. So prophecy always happens. If it was written, it's going to happen. Now, these are the words of the Most High spoken through the ancient prophets. All right. Now, I'm going to say this, I'm going to share this, and I'm going to wrap this up. I'm sharing this video because I have several evangelical friends that are on this tip of, hey, you know what? Things are going to be equal one day, and everything's going to be equal, and all men will be looked upon not for the color of their skin, but for the content of their character, quoting Dr. Martin Luther King, and everybody's going to be equal and everything's going to be fine. That ain't the way the scripture has it. And I'm not here to play. I'm not here to piss in your cornflakes or to rain on your parade. I'm here to tell you what the Most High said and the way that universal balance sheets work. You don't get to wrong somebody for however many 100 years you wrong them. And I'm not saying you, because, people always saying, well, I wasn't there. I wasn't responsible for blah, blah, blah. How do you know that? There's some wicked souls that are walking this earth right now, embodied, that were wicked in their last life. Now, Christianity ain't gonna tell you that you've been here before. That's not what they do. They everything in life, everything in this world, everything in the universe is cyclical. Halley's Comet even comes around once every 99 years. Everything in life is cyclical. Why in the world would human life or human existence be linear? Well, you're here for a fraction of time, a grain of sand in a grain in the sands of eternity. You're here for a fraction, and then you're gone. That doesn't work. Everything else is cyclical. Everything in life is cyclical. This is why in the book of Ecclesiastes it says, "There's no new thing under the sun." What is today was before, and what is to come has already been. Okay. So this is how things work. Now, not to get too far off track, he who leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Maybe you didn't do that in this embodiment, but who's to say you didn't do it in another one? So anyway, I'm going to wrap this up because I can easily get pulled off into the weeds with this. And this is why I took away the 5 minute. Maybe we'll try again next Friday. I don't know. Maybe I'll have some shorter content or whatever. We'll try again next Friday. But as I wrap this up, understand that you don't get to wrong somebody for centuries and then come back and have a come to Jesus meeting and then say, hey, we're sorry, all's forgiven, please forgive us. And then, yeah, you know what? Those people might forgive you, but you still got to pay the consequences for what you did in order for the universe to be balanced. That's just how that works. So if you're a righteous soul, you don't need to be worried about anything. If you're unrighteous, you got a little bit to worry about. You got a little bit to worry about if you're an unrighteous soul. So listen, this ain't here to scare you. I'm not here to scare you. I'm the messenger. That's it. That's it. Those words that I read, they're not mine. They were written thousands of years before me. All right. Those prophets, those books of those prophets I read from, they walked here thousands of years ago. And we know, based on that last video I dropped, that prophecy is inescapable. Go back and look at those examples. Look at that video if you haven't seen it. The inescapability of prophecy. For things to be balanced, you got to feel. And you know what? Before I wrap this up, let me say this, because let me end this on a good note. This is why you want to do the right thing. Because in that same monetary example, guess what? If I come out of my own abundance and give you my $200, guess what the universe does? It's got to balance things out. I don't get balanced out by getting my 200 back. I have to have 200 given to me. You see that? So it just to give me back 200 balances me, and it doesn't equally and opposite give an equal and opposite reaction of the act of my giving. Okay, so therefore, the equal and opposite reaction from the Most High, from the universe, is that if I give someone $200 out of my abundance and I have nothing left, guess what? I'm gonna get my 200 back and then 200 on top of that. So I wanted to end this on a good note, and I'm thankful to the Spirit of the Most High for placing that in me to share right before I ended this video. I didn't want to end on a negative note, okay? Because there's light and darkness, there's 0 and 1. Everything in the universe is binary. I don't care what anybody says. The light either is on or it's off. If something is kind of lit, there's light, all right? Ain't no such thing as kind of dark. If it's kind of dark, then there's a presence of light, all right? It's either light or darkness. There's a 0 or 1, and if people who from the IT community, the technology community, you know how that works, all right? It's either a 0 or 1. That's it. There's male or female. There's no in between. I don't care what anybody says. If you get mad, whatever, the filter's off. All right. Everything is binary in the universe. All right. It's one or the other. It's one way or the other. All right. That's it. That's it. So I wanted to leave on a good note because, listen, in the same token that if you've done wickedly, wickedness has to befall you to balance things out. Guess what? If you've been benevolent, benevolence has to be returned to you for things to be balanced out. You don't give a $100 out of the kindness of your heart and just get 100 back. You're going to get 200 back if you did it out of the kindness of your heart. That's the way this universal balance sheet works. So throw out what you know about business balance sheets, budget balance sheets, and stuff like that. That's not the way the universe works. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. This has been another episode of Filterless Freestyle Fridays. Freestyling meaning, we don't really plan this. It just kind of comes off the cuff a little bit. This was sort of planned because I did another video and I knew I wanted to talk about this today. But sometimes I just wake up on a Friday morning and be like, all right, what's the word for today? So I thank y'all for watching. Listen, I love you guys so much. Thank you. You guys, you know what? You just don't know, man. I mean, some of you that watch these videos, I know you personally, and you hit me up in the street and you say, Matt, thank you for sharing that video. I never really looked at things like that. And, I never know how this stuff's going to be taken. So I really appreciate you guys and appreciate all the love you're giving me. I hope I try to give that love back to you guys. So when I always say tell somebody you love them, tell them you love them, but try to show it. No, don't try. Just do it. Just show them. Show them you love them. It's one thing to say I love you, but if you don't show me, then those words were empty. So tell somebody you love them, but more importantly, show it. Mean it. Tell them you love them and mean it, and then show it. You guys check out my work. I'm an author, and I love when people read what I wrote. So you can check out my free stuff at www.mdtalford.com. That's my blog. Or you can check out my books, and the links are in the below, and you can also see the book covers at the end of this video. Thank you guys. Peace.